My lords, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back once again to Transport Fever 2 and the Japanese themed playthrough on easy mode. Now we're starting today at the farm outside of Mima. We were here in the previous episode, if you recall, setting up the food production chain to deliver the food into Mima to stimulate a little bit of expansion and growth, with the ultimate end goal hopefully to be having more people taking our passenger line over to Sayo, because when we first put that into service there was very little attraction and pickup, so hopefully having more residents will encourage more of them to take the train. Now you may notice there's a little change right here. As you can see, there are now 3 buildings surrounding this truck station and the cargo platforms at the farm by Mima. And for those of you in the know, you'll have correctly deduced by now. For those of you who do not, let me explain what's going on here. I have opted into the beta version of the newest release. I've done a bit of testing and so far it appears to be relatively stable, even with all the mods that we have installed for this series, so I'm confident and happy to continue using it for the remainder of this series. Obviously once the full release version is released we shall switch over to that one, but so far everything appears to be working very nicely indeed. Now if we bring up the user interface, let's have a look first of all at what changes we can expect to see in this new update. So we have the 3 buildings here, and these form part of your modular station, and they allow you to increase the storage capacity at your station by putting down either a small or large cargo building. As you can see here, I've gone for 3 large cargo buildings, and that now gives us a total storage capacity of around about 400. So that's a welcome improvement and a big change, and I'm pleased to see that make an appearance in the game. It does make sense to have a sort of warehouse building attached to your cargo station to store the goods while they're waiting to be picked up, and it does mean obviously a lot less or far fewer of the goods that you're producing are going to waste due to an overcrowded platform, so that's always a bonus. One other change I only just noticed when I loaded this save is when you go to your HUD icon filters, it now remembers them and it stores them between saving and loading. So for example, I always tend to turn off the outgoing expenditure costs floating numbers. Now I don't have to do it every time I load the game. It remembers my settings from the previous time, so that's a welcome quality of life improvement. Got a bit of a problem here with these buildings because of this quote-unquote river, which is just painted terrain texture. I think I might have to delete those because that's going to make me feel a little bit uncomfortable looking at that. And we're going to have to keep an eye on that sort of thing. Actually, it's not something I'd actually considered when I started the map, but there you go. That is something to keep an eye on, make sure they don't start doing silly things like that. Okay, back to the updates. Now one of the big features, and if we head over to Uejima, this will be the best place to demonstrate this new feature, is the ability to allow your trains to use multiple platforms if the one they're assigned to is busy. And I've done this with our stone freight trains. If we go to the line and manage the line, we see this new icon here. So for this station, Uejima Freight Exchange, its primary terminal would be number 2. However, if there's a train occupying this platform, whether it be another stone train or one of the food delivery trains, then the train can instead opt to come onto platform 3. That is a huge change and something I look forward to implementing properly. I've tested it on this station as we've just seen, and it does work as anticipated. I've had it where we've had a train unloading here and one wanting to come on to the platform, and rather than having to wait around for the train to finish what it's doing on the platform, it'll simply come onto this platform here. So that's a welcome change, and kudos to that. Other changes, much like the freight stations, we have extra passenger buildings to increase your terminal capacity at your passenger bus stations and tram stations and the likes. And we can see these demonstrated here. There's the small variety and here is the larger variety. So that just mimics the functionality of the buildings we saw over at Mima Farms, but obviously rather than increasing the cargo capacity, it increases your passenger capacity. So another welcome addition right there. I think in terms of the major changes, that might be everything that I've seen so far. I did notice in the patch notes it does discuss that industries will pop up in, or rather I should rephrase that, the trade goods required, the commodities required by a town can change and increase over time. And I don't mean they need more of the starting commodities, I mean sometimes extra commodities will start to appear. So that adds a really interesting late game challenge and something to look forward to. As of yet, obviously isn't a factor for us, but it is something to bear in mind and something I look forward to getting my teeth stuck into, because it will make the late game that little bit more complex and challenging, and it should be a lot of fun. Okay, so in terms of the gameplay mechanics, I think that's most of them that I've come across so far. I played for about 25 to 30 minutes just to make sure it was stable and test some of the new features out. So there may be other things I am yet to come across. In terms of what else we've managed to do between episodes then, well, we now have 3 platforms here, and we have a 3rd track running along here as we can see, or a 4th track I should say at this point. And this line here, it comes off this way, through this tunnel and this tunnel over here, and it meets up with this passenger line right here and snaps parallel just there. Doesn't go any further at the moment, but it's there ready for us. Obviously this is going to be the freight line that we used to bring in the machinery down here. I just wanted to get the start of it in place early, and that way we don't box ourselves in and leave ourselves with no space or a big old mess. So there's the start of the freight line. It's not going to see action for a short while just yet, but at least it's ready to go. I have also increased the amount of stone trains to 4, which you may have noticed when I go on here. And I've also increased the amount of wagons they have from 7 to 9. Obviously we do have a slightly more powerful locomotive now, so it can cope with 9 carriages rather than the 7 that we were running before. I've also doubled the amount of brick trains that we have, and when I say doubled them, I've come from 1 to 2. I've also increased the amount of trucks we have bringing the stone down from the quarry up here, and again we've got a couple of those buildings up here as well just to increase the freight capacity of this platform. The food production chains over in Mima and Sayo have also been increased in terms of the amount of vehicles they have operating on the line, and we can witness this right here. Not right there. Let's try that again. Manage vehicles. So we now have 60 on this route. I think initially we had 50 over here, so an extra 10. And then if we hop over to Sayo as well, we can check here. We did start out with 25 and we now have 70. So a lot more running over here. And as we discussed in the previous episode, we do need quite a few here because of the length that they're having to travel. We want to make sure there's not too much delay between each truck's arrival time. And that is pretty much that. I did a bit of scenery work and beautification, just smoothing out some of the terraforming that we've had to do as we've been laying down our tracks, going through and removing any of the foliage that was too close to the line. I've just deleted it back a bit, trimmed the forest back, if you will, just to open it up a little, just around where the train lines run, because we did have quite a few encroaching trees and shrubs right up against the tracks, which just looked a little bit odd. So I've got rid of all of those, and as I said, I've just smoothed out some of these embankments and cuttings that we had to generate. Not all of them, as we can see. Some of them are quite angular still, but a lot of them have been addressed, primarily on this route over here. As we can see, the landscape looks a lot smoother in and around our train lines now, and that's just a quick case of running over it with the smoothing tool. I've also painted on the ballast between any of the double tracks that we have, where I might have missed it initially, so we shouldn't have any grass popping through anymore, although there might be one or two places where I have missed it, so we will keep an eye out for that, and we'll change them as and when we come across them. Lastly then, this road that we deleted to make room for this track has been reconnected, as we can see, with a tunnel going underneath the passenger line, so there's no interference for any residents who are happening to travel down here, because they can get from Mima up here, and they can head to, in fact no they can't, I thought that went to a city, clearly it does not. I don't know what I was thinking, I must have been confused with another road somewhere else on the map, so disregard that, but the road's back in position anyway. Okay then, so with Mima and Sayo now receiving food, as we can see, and a fair amount of food as well for that matter, we can see that's triggered an extra 92 residents to move into the town of Sayo. Let's see if it's had any lasting impact on the amount of passengers on our lines. Well, before we were getting between 1 and 3, and now we're up to 8, so almost hitting double figures. So yeah, it's an improvement, it's a start. We need to make that better. But for now, we need to get this line finished off, because we desperately want to get these machinery commodities running up to Uwajima, and that would be the final commodity that town requires for growth. For now, as I said, that is subject to change as the town expands. That's one thing to keep an eye on. However, that's all for the future, so all we need to do today is get ourselves over to Yawatahama with our passenger line, and then we can start on the freight line that's going to run alongside it for the most part. So we'll pick up exactly where we left off. We have 6.5 million, so money should be fine for the remainder of this construction works. We want to make sure we have tunnels, of course, and we'll go for the cheap tunnels this time around. And we'll also keep this track as flat as we possibly can. We may have to delete that little road there, which might remove that residence. Yes, indeed it has. But that's okay. We'll continue the rail line, and then they can build and expand around the train line, rather than us having to try and navigate ourselves around their roads. Right, we do need to cross this road, speaking of which, so let's address that now. We're at a good height for a bridge over the road, so we'll start that early. I dare say here we want the basic tunnel again. I was thinking of maybe having a cutting there. How much would it cost? Yeah, we'll have a cutting there, because why not? And I think what we'll do, when we've got the money, we might even open up this side of the hill so you can look down into the town as you're passing on through. As I said previously, we will have a station here at some point, but for now we are just going to bypass Wakayama, heading straight for Yawatahama instead, so we can get those commodities that we're looking for sooner rather than later. Okay, so we've now crossed the road. We now want to think about how we're going to start heading downwards. And I think we'll take it down one elevation step. I must say, I like the look of that bridge just as you're coming into town, and I imagine it looks quite nice from the town as well. Oh yes. Very happy with how that's turned out, even if it is costing $500,000. Well, that's fine. But let's continue it now. In fact, what would an embankment look like? I quite like the cliff face effect, if I'm being honest. So I might go with that. I want it a little faster though. 50 miles an hour just isn't going to cut it. Sorry, 48. We're going to aim for 50. We've got 49 there, but that's okay. Do we want that, or do we want to continue with the bridge? I think we'll go with the bridge. It is making it a very, very, very long bridge, but I can live with that. It's a game. It's not architecture simulator or anything. Right. Now we want the track to just do what it's naturally inclined to do owing to the lay of the land. And again, we'll go for a tunnel here. Now this is quite steep, but it's got to be because we need to get back into this valley floor. Of course, it's not steep anymore, not when you just go ahead and delete it like that. Now we're looking down here. I think we're getting close. Go back to the cutting there. Yeah, we're not too far off. So we've lost quite a lot of the elevation that we need to get rid of. I think crossing and crossing back over again isn't too bad of an idea. So we'll go for that. So this really is the land of bridges. Obviously a couple of episodes ago we were all about the tunnels. Now we're going in completely the opposite direction and it's all about the bridge. We're going to want another one here because we do want to be on this side of the road. Let's see if we can just eke it out a little further. Okay, bridge pillar collision. Oh, we had it just then. There it is. Okay, and again, very, very steep. So the train's coming down here. I think for the early game, we're going to have to double head them just because of the power requirements for all these incline and elevation changes. Because quite extreme. Okay, where are we? We're very close to our final destination now, which is great. How high are we? Yeah, we want to come down a little. What do we have here? The Dunara Castle, which is a ship. New wagons. And the Koha 6500 screw coupler and knuckle coupler, which look like passenger wagons to me. Hello there, bird. So we'll have a look at those in a minute. We may as well just quickly finish this construction project off. We're nearly there now. We don't want to be rising up. Certainly don't want to be doing that. Collision. Are you colliding with the industry? What are you colliding with there? I couldn't tell you. I think, yeah, let's get rid of all this. I don't think we're going to get a refund for all of this, unfortunately. No, we're not. I think we stay on this side of the road. But I like that viaduct, so I think we'll keep that. And we'll go from here, because I was thinking of getting rid of all of this and just keeping this on this side of the road. But I really like that viaduct as you enter and exit the town. I think it looks quite splendid. So we're going to keep that, even if it is a little bit extravagant. And instead, we'll just focus on keeping this on this side of the road. That's quite an elevation drop there. Let's just take some of the edge off there. 3 meters. But it's only, well, it's not even over 100 meters, so it is quite a gradient change. Now, do we want a bridge or do we want a cutting? Well, I quite like that. Yeah, we'll go for that. And then all we want to do is get it down to the appropriate level down here. There we go. And I think now we should be in a far better position to do what we're looking to do. Keep you nice and straight there. Yes. Right, where do we want the train station? Originally, I was thinking about over here. This can be a terminus, so why wouldn't we have it just here? In fact, I think we'll do that. So we want buildings, passenger terminus station, 320 meters. And for now, we'll have one platform, but it will likely be expanded in the future. We can actually get rid of that. And I dare say we want to get rid of that road just so it keeps it nice and tidy. And we'll put the road back in a little bit later on. It's only an industry connection road. Oh no, technically you can get to Kawakami as well. But they're not complaining about the road being removed, so I don't think it's critical. And we'll have the station. Do we want it at an angle? Something a little bit different? Sure. Why not? That doesn't look too bad. It gives us quite a bit of room for expansion to the left and to the right for extra platforms, so that's good. Right, let's get this connected into here. How does that look? Yeah, pretty good. I'm happy enough with that. Okay, we now have our passenger connection all the way over to Yawatahama. Do we want to run a line down here for now? I don't see why not. Yeah, let's do it. Let's get ourselves a signal here, and we'll use a distance signal this time because, again, why not? And that will just allow our trains to leave the station at Yawatahama if there's anything down here, because this is all one big long block. To start with, we'll just go with one train, so let's get the line set up. We're going from Sayo to Yawatahama. Wonderful. And again, we'll just call it a shuttle for now. Yawatahama Sayo shuttle. There we go. Let's go ahead and purchase the train for this. Although we're going to need passing loops down here because there's no way for the train to come on through. So let's get a few passing loops put in. We don't need many. Let's have them as fast as possible, so when we do have multiple trains down here in the future, then they can make use of their top speed where possible. And I think that'll do for now. We'll bring this in. Oh no, that's not quite right. There we go. Oh god, just lost it. There we go. Let's get ourselves some signals, and we'll have the passing signals for this. These do want to be one way, of course. One just there. And we want one over here as well. Is there anywhere else we could squeeze in a passing loop? Yep, we've got this nice open space here, so we'll do another one here as well. And we'll do it just as we leave the tunnel, and again we want as fast as possible on the junction. Likewise on this side, as fast as possible. 75 miles per hour is wonderful. Back to the signals. One way there and one way over here. And I think that should do us quite nicely. Right, let's go ahead and purchase the train now that it can actually make its way over there without colliding with our passenger train that's already running down there. Where's our depot? Here you are. Okay, so I've only got 1.2 million, so not a lot of money to spend on the train, which is unfortunate. So Class B. Here is the new passenger carrier. What's the word I'm looking for? Passenger wagon? Yeah, I guess. 43 miles per hour, 23 capacity, so faster, a lot more capacity. It's even a little bit quieter on the emissions as well. It's very light, only 12, just under 13 tons. 155 per year. Okay, that's where its downfall is. It's an extra £100,000 per year to operate this, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and stick Are they both identical in terms of performance? Yes, they are. Let's have a screw coupler on this. 1.8 million. We'll just stick with the one carriage for now. We can always put more on a little bit later if this proves to be a popular service. Now that we can see the line, we can assign it, and the train will make its way over in the not too distant future. Right then, so this is what this was all about. So the first thing we need to do is get the steel and the planks into here. Now we have a sawmill right here. We have a forest right here. We also have this forest nestled up in the mountains as well. Right, we're going to need as well a cargo yard down here somewhere, and that's going to service quite a few of these industries, or act as a central exchange point for the industries, as well as being where the machinery gets loaded onto for its onward journey. And I think, but we could have it nestled in here, or we could just have it over this side of the road. Right, let me just have a quick look at that. We can, no, we'll go for a through station rather than a terminus. How would it be over here? We can't afford it, but that's fine. But that, I'm just trying to plan out the future lines very quickly in my mind. We have it there. It would automatically accept the iron and the coal for the steel and the steel output as well. Although to get the steel down to here, I think we would just use a road vehicle and we'd come here and then through this way, so we can avoid travelling through the town itself. The planks, we have this forest here. And yes, that's right, I was discussing the possibility of having a waterborne shipping service over here. From here into here, relatively short. We could shorten it in the future by digging an artificial canal through this little peninsula, as well as this little peninsula right here. And that would make a big difference to the ship travel time. I think we'll do that, yes. We'll use waterborne vessels to get the wood over there into the planks. And we could even have the same ship drop the planks off here before going back into the forest. That would work. Let's just have a look at our lines for a quick second here, see if anything is losing money alarmingly. No, well, the brick freight, but that tends to be a little bit up and down anyway, to be fair. Let's go and have a look at it. What's, if we can spot any problems. Well, one problem is you're not leaving fully loaded, which is never ideal. I think it's just the amount of bricks we're getting delivered down here. We could do with more. We have some stone on the way to be hauled over. We have plenty of road vehicles taking the stone and the bricks, so that's not a concern. In fact, how many do we have? Let's check. Stone haulage, managed vehicles, we have 50. Yeah, I think that's improving or increasing. That isn't going to make much difference. Now I think we're just gonna have to live with that. Let's have a look at the freight finances. Yeah, they're not great, are they? You know what, I dare say doubling up on those trains was a bad idea, so let's sell this one. There we go. Stick with just the one. Yeah, we'll stick with just the one train, and that's got us a little bit of money back as well, which is always nice. Right, let's see how far along. Oh, not very far. I was going to say, let's see how far along this train has got, and the answer is not very. Never mind. Right, let's head back over here. There we go. we want a bus service over here before we forget that. Otherwise we're not going to have any people taking this service whatsoever. And we'll double up because the lay of the town, and we'll have it come this way with a double up, but on its way out it will just come all the way around here. I'm just going to do these stops as few and far between as we can with the reach of the station, bus stop rather, and then into there, and then you'll come up here, you'll turn around before heading back to the station. Okay, let's get the line set up and let's get some buses operating this route. So you're coming this way. There we go, that's what we wanted. We'll change Jotsu Road to Station Road, but for now let's just name this Bus Service 01, and this is Yawatahama Station. There we go. Rename this one to Station. We'll go for Station Street, why not? There we go. Let's get a vehicle depot out here as well, and we'll put this over by the industry, just there. Buy some vehicles. Oh yes, we have the new vehicles. I've completely forgotten about those. So not much difference here. In fact, I dare say this one is better anyway. Right, let's have, in fact no, we don't want that, we want that. I'm glad I spotted that. We'll go for 6, and they are a dark charcoal sort of colour and on the go. Right, I think we could probably do with upgrading our freight vehicles. How much would it cost to do 70 all at once? Let's have a look. 2 million. Well, we've got to start somewhere. There we go. These can take the food off. Yep, yes they can. So an extra 1 per vehicle, that makes 70 overall. Nice simple maths right there. So we should see a little increase in our profit margins. As and when we get the funds to do the other lines, we shall do them of course. Or in fact I might even do them between episodes, just so there's less waiting around for the money to accumulate to be able to fund it all. So nobody's waiting to go to Yawatahama just yet, although we do have people waiting to go to Sayo from Yawatahama. And I think what we're going to do, we're going to take a ride on that train as the outro, and we'll do that as soon as it arrives. I'll probably skip time just a little bit, and in the next episode we'll start supplying some of these industries around here, now that our company has expanded its reach out to here, and we've gone for that natural organic growth that I was talking about, rather than, you know, doing a bit in one side of the map then jumping over to a completely different side of the map and setting up another line over there. This way it all stays at least roughly interconnected. And let's see if we can find our train. Not you. Oh, you're making a profit all of a sudden. Check you out. Well, that's good to see. I'm guessing it's you. Yes, it is. You're on your way. So we'll pause the date progression at this point. Jump to 4 times speed. I will put a little cut in once I've said the goodbyes, and we'll pick up the outro just as we're departing the town of Sayo, heading for Yawatahama. And I think it should be quite a nice cab ride, this one. Very scenic with all the bridges and such like, so I'm looking forward to seeing how it indeed does look. One thing I am going to do is, before we do that, if I can afford it, and I hope I can, just flatten off some of this here, like I was mentioning earlier, just to open up the view of the town as the train goes on by. Let's see if we can do that nicely. Yes, we can. We might want to also get rid of these trees here, so we'll quickly do that as well. Not that big, because we'll get rid of too much stuff there. There we go. And just maybe along this line here as well. just nice and quickly. In fact, let's unpause it while I'm doing this so we're not wasting time. Get rid of those off the cliff face and those there. We might want to smooth that, although we can't afford it, obviously. Some of this, get rid of those what are growing there because it looks bizarre. And those there. Just open up the train line a little. There we go, that should do. Yeah, we won't be able to afford to do the terraforming on the other cutting, unfortunately, but yeah, this one just here is the one I'm talking about, because that would have been nice to see the bridge coming around the corner. It's very obscured at the moment, although we're not heading this way anyway, so that's not really a problem for the outro. So yes, thank you very much for watching as always. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and if you did, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button down below. It does help the channel, and it's also a nice gesture of support for yours truly. Likewise, if you haven't yet subscribed, then go ahead and feel free to do so. I am planning yet another series to run in parallel with this one, and I think that will be something like Cities Skylines. It was requested in a recent video, and I think that could be a lot of fun as a little side project, while we're also keeping this one live as well, of course. But all that remains for me to say for now, ladies and gentlemen, is, as always, take very good care of yourselves. I'll see you again in a few moments when the train arrives ready for our outro. Until that time, take care of yourselves. Ta-ta for now.